Do West Ham need a new goalkeeper this summer? I think it's split the fan base. Actually, I've seen a lot of people saying yes, we do. I've seen a lot of people saying Areola's fine, spend the money elsewhere, and the media can't make up their minds either. Some reports are we're after Aaron Ramsdale of Southampton, of course, who've just been relegated, but other reports are suggesting that we're not going to be going after a goalkeeper whatsoever. So we've got the transfer rumor, and then we've got the rumor about the rumor. But Frankie, today is about opinions. Let's start with the actual goalkeeping position. Do you feel it's a position that we need to be spending money on this summer?
Oh, it's a great. We seem to go back and forth with it, don't we? It seems to be very much like it's in the conversation, then it's not, then it comes back into the conversation again, and no one can quite make up their mind as to whether or not it's a priority. It certainly won't be top of my list, Gio, I've got to say. I think Areola can do a job. After watching Manchester United last night, it makes you think actually we're quite comfortable and quite okay because they've clearly got major goalkeeping issues. It's difficult. We haven't had much of a look at anyone other than Areola at the moment. So it's hard to say where we are in terms of a backup keeper. But would it be top of my list? No. If the right opportunity presented itself, would that change things? Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. A goalkeeper isn't the top of my list, and I read all the comments from the subscribers, but I do feel like it's split. I think there's a lot of subscribers want a new goalkeeper, and there's a lot of subscribers don't want a new goalkeeper. And the one thing I was a bit frustrated with, there was quite a few suggesting that people only want a new goalkeeper because of Areola's error against Bournemouth. Because I made one mistake, now everyone's new. I think that's unfair. I've seen subscribers wanting a new goalkeeper for a long time. I possibly changed my mind, I don't know, around about Christmas time maybe. I feel like that's where roughly then I thought, nah, we need a new goalkeeper this summer. But there were subscribers even before that saying we need a new goalkeeper next summer. So it's definitely been a conversation that splits it. And my priority for this summer is the midfield. I think that's the area we need to invest heavily in. Striker as well, definitely. We need a good striker in. I think there's an argument that we need wing backs if we're going to be playing that. I think we could do with investing in there. We obviously need a centre back as well. So there's a lot we need this summer. It's just a case of how do we divide up the budget and what do we prioritise. So is the goalkeeper the thing at the top of my list? No. Midfield and striker are. However, I would put it maybe third on my list, actually. There might be two midfielders, though, so maybe fourth player, but third in terms of position. And I think there's opportunity this summer because I think there will be a few good goalkeepers on the move. Kelleher of Liverpool, right at the top of that list. I think Hermansen of Leicester, I think he's a good goalkeeper. If Sheffield United or Burnley fail to get promoted, I think there's two really good goalkeepers there with Cooper and Trafford. Obviously, if they come up, you would expect them to stay where they are. But there's a possibility Leeds will come up and one of them will go in the playoffs. And at the minute, I'd be fancying Sunderland to go on and win that playoffs at the moment. So I think there's opportunity this summer to get a good goalkeeper. And I would like to see that as an area we improve at West Ham. And also, Areola will have some market value if you were to sell him. You might not get 15 million for him, but I think you'd get closer to 10 than 5, certainly. I think somebody would pay good money to get Areola because he is a good goalkeeper. I just think we need better than that. I think we need a top goalkeeper, and I don't feel we've got that at the minute. So, yes, I would like to see us go after someone. However, I do not want to see us go after Aaron Ramsdale. Do you have an opinion on the Southampton number one?
Yeah, absolutely not for me. A goalkeeper who's just, taken a side down, a goalkeeper that's clearly had issues with football previously, and we don't need to go back into all of the problems that he has. We all know the problems that he has as a keeper. Not someone that I'd want to roll the dice with at all. And if it was signing Ramsdale was the type of keeper we'd go after, it certainly wouldn't even be third on my list as positions. I think we saw that playing with a proper striker makes a big difference to how we play as a team. So striker for me is number one on the list. Straight in behind that is the midfield, as you said. I also think that if we're going to play the way we're playing, wing backs is vital. I think we're going to see some central defenders go out the door and they have to be replaced. So for me, they're that is so much more important when you've got Areola, who I'm not saying is a world-class goalkeeper for any stretch of the imagination. I think he is just a good, decent goalkeeper. And I'd love to see us get someone who, if it's Kelleher, all of a sudden that almost becomes higher than the midfield priority. I think that's like just a top signing. I think that would be brilliant. I just don't see us getting him. Trafford, I think, would be another great option, and that's kind of your keeper then set for the foreseeable future. So I'd love to see that. That would be absolutely brilliant. And then all of a sudden, I'd be very happy with that signing over some of the other positions that I think need to be addressed. But if the calibre of goalkeeper we're looking at is Aaron Ramsdale, it would be way low on my list. Just not up for it at all.
Yeah, I'm just dreading us getting linked to Sanchez of Chelsea. He was obviously Potter's goalkeeper at Brighton. I think he's arguably just as bad. Actually, no, he is worse than Ramsdale. I do not want to see that guy even linked to West Ham this summer, and I won't react to it, because if I did, I would get... I'd panic a bit. And that guy's been possibly the worst, bar a couple, but he's been one of the worst in the league. Yet, we haven't been linked to him yet. I'm just praying it doesn't happen. But it does feel like a lazy link because of the Potter situation. In regards to the truth around Ramsdale, I'll tell you what the reports are suggesting, and we will tell you whether or not we believe it. So the Times is reporting that West Ham want Ramsdale. He's valued at around about 20 million, but Clout and Hugh are saying West Ham don't want a new keeper this summer. So it's not that West Ham don't want Ramsdale. West Ham don't want a keeper. They're sticking with Areola, and the money will be used elsewhere. What do you believe? And I'll tell you what I believe.
I mean, for me, from my mentality, that fits in perfectly with how I am. The only thing that I find that's a bit strange is that Areola, it was only 5 minutes ago that he wanted out the door.
Yeah.
And I know things have changed since then, and I can accept that. But if somebody kind of gets their heart set on wanting, and I think look, we never know really. It's all rumours, and we can't have a definitive look. This is what they've said, or this is what their position is. But it seemed to become fairly obvious that his heart weren't really in being at West Ham. He just seemed like he was just in another place, and just seemed like he preferred a bit of a change up, and would rather play his football somewhere else. Has enough changed? And I know we've got a different manager now, and I fully appreciate that. And he might get on with the manager far better he did the previous one. But I just look at it and just think, has that much changed that he suddenly is totally 100% committed to playing his football at West Ham? And if he's not, then, I would be very surprised that the club have taken that stance to say, look, he's the man that we're sticking with. And not only that, I mean, the only reason they could have that position is if, and this is what makes me nervous, we were all expecting the same old West Ham in the summer. We should have money to spend. Financial experts tell you that West Ham have got money to spend, but the board plead poverty, and players have got to go out before they come in. And we have to prioritise certain positions because we're only West Ham and we can't sign everyone we need in one go, because that's not what the club that we are. If they're taking the stance that Areola is our man and we're prioritising other positions, to me, more than Areola's position, it suggests that we may see West Ham being a little bit tight in the transfer window. And that does make me very nervous, Gio.
Yeah, the thing with that is, I think the issue I've got with that report and that stance from the club is, I think you should always be open to upgrading every single position anyway. You should always be open to it. Do I want to upgrade Wan-Bissaka? No. But if some ridiculously good right back became available all of a sudden, I think, whoa, you've got to react quick. And the thing is, here's the question I would ask anyone, including yourself and myself, and I have asked myself this. Are you confident that if, say we replace Fabianski with a similar free goalkeeper, because he's likely to be leaving, so we get someone in that's in his 30s, he's free, and we don't spend money on that area. Are you confident Areola is good enough to be number one all season? Because my answer is no. My answer is he will have a dip in form. He will create errors, which leads to him being dropped. For the last 2 years now, we've seen Areola and Fabianski get dropped, play well, get dropped, play well, get dropped, regardless of which one. They keep on alternating between who's the main keeper, because, and it's not because the other one's so good as well, let's give him a shot. It's because the keeper's made errors, which, right, okay, we've got to get you out of the team, put the other one in. I struggle to believe that won't occur next season, that Areola suddenly becomes good enough and consistent enough that he doesn't make any mistakes and that he plays week in, week out, and we're all happy with him. I struggle to believe that. And I appreciate there's a middle ground here, which is, well, do we then buy one of the keepers we've mentioned to replace Fabianski and have that goalkeeper plus Areola? I think the answer is no. I don't think we can afford to. I don't think we can afford to spend 20 million on a keeper and have Areola at the club because, as Frankie said, he got replaced by Fabianski and got the hump. And I understand why. But when we had European football, you could keep both goalkeepers happy. But we don't have that now. It's gone. That 6 group stage games is gone. The knockout games, if you have a cup keeper, they get 1 Carabao Cup game, 1 FA Cup game guaranteed. Hopefully, they'll have more. Hopefully, we'll go deep into the competition. But you can't guarantee that. Right now, all you can guarantee your sub keeper next season is 2 games, and that's it. So that's why I don't think we will replace Fabianski with a substantial keeper. And that's why I'd sell Areola and look to bring someone else in. In terms of believing it, I believe a bit in the middle. And there's another report suggesting that a Premier League club has approached Southampton about loaning Aaron Ramsdale next season. I can see that being West Ham. I believe that would be West Ham. Because when you think about it, a Premier League club, right, okay, well, you go through the Premier League pretty quickly. You can start ruling out teams easily. Is it going to be Brighton? No, unless Van Bergen leaves. No, it won't be him. It won't be Brentford. They're happy with Flecken. Newcastle, I think they've got bigger ambition. They want a new keeper, but I don't think it'll be Aaron Ramsdale. You go through process of elimination, you're left with 2 or 3 clubs. We are one of them. I think Chelsea are one of them. And you might be looking at Wolves, because I'm not a big fan of Jose Sa. That's about it. So I actually believe that maybe we approach Southampton, said, oh, we'll loan him next season, because he's on 100 grand a week, apparently. And I wonder maybe that's what we're trying to do here, which is we'll sell Areola, replace him with a goalkeeper on loan. So net-wise, we're up, and we'll deal with the problem next summer. Just not for me. I hope it's not true. I'd prefer Areola to Aaron Ramsdale. Anything you'd like to add about the keeper before we discuss Sunday?
No, I mean, it's very sensible, Geo. I mean, on the surface of things, it sounds like a very sensible move for Southampton. It sounds like a very sensible move for West Ham, if that is the case. But it's just not how, if you're an ambitious football club, it's just not how you behave. It's just not what you do. And it would worry me that you've not got a full, proper commitment from that. And maybe they come in and think, well, as long as I perform, this guarantees me Premier League football next season. I don't have to go back to my club who may have been promoted, but may also still be in the Championship. So, no, I just, that screams of like Harry Redknapp days, that does, when you're trying to, just do clever little deals. Yeah, wheel and deal. That's what it screams of. I just thought we'd left them days behind. But it's exactly the type of move that Sullivan would do, thinking that he's pulled a stroke of genius. And actually, I'm not quite sure it is that. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting theory.
Let's turn our attention to Anfield. And I guess some news that may have a bit of an impact on West Ham, not just on Sunday. Obviously, Salah signed his new contract with Liverpool. And I think what this has done, I wouldn't say I was concerned about Liverpool coming for Jared Bowen. However, Liverpool was the only club I was perhaps worried would ever come for Jared Bowen. Does that make sense? Maybe Newcastle.
Yeah.
Maybe Newcastle, but I just don't think they'd spend the money that would be required to get Bowen out of West Ham. But, Man City, Arsenal, I just don't see them even being interested in Jared Bowen. Liverpool was the only club I thought, if Salah goes, I could see why they'd maybe rock up at the London Stadium and say, how much were you on? In 75, 80 million? Yeah, here you are. We'll have Jared Bowen, thank you. So Salah signed his deal. I'm chilled out now. Bowen will be here next year. I think he always was going to be anyway, but I'm just any 2% of concern, gone. I'm happy.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, he signed that long-term contract. Like you say, I never feel like there was any any real chance of him going anywhere else, even if they come knocking.
I think he would.
I don't know.
I do, and do you know what? I wouldn't blame him for 1 second. But I think if Liverpool was, let's hypothetically, Salah left this summer and Liverpool come in. If I was Bowen's mate, I'd be saying, "Mate, you've got to go. They've just won the title, Champions League football. You're 28 years old. You want to?"
He's a throwback, Gio. He's somehow just been our adopted son. I just don't know.
I don't
how
want
he
him to
ended
go.
up here,
Trust me.
you know.
I don't want him to go. I always say there's only 2 players I wouldn't sell this summer: Bowen, Scarles. The rest of them, there's a price on every single player's head, as far as I'm concerned, that I'd be happy to see leave. But he's the only one that I consider almost, but not quite priceless. Anfield, Sunday. You looking forward to the game? Feeling confident?
Not really. I'm always this is the only one, Gio, that I dread. I don't dread any other game. I go into any other game believing, I don't care where it is or what we're doing. If we was going to the Emirates this weekend, regardless of that silly Rice and his free kicks, I would think we're going to go and get a result. And I'd really believe it. This place, it just haunts me. Just Anfield, Liverpool, everything about it, I almost just ignore that it's happening, to be honest with you. There's been a few times where I've gone to Anfield away days, been spanked 5-0, come away from there just feeling awful. Just don't ever want to do it again. Yeah, it's the only one I struggle to get up for. Look, come Sunday, I'll be changing my mind and I'll start fancying us and believing it, as I always do. But yeah, it's just such a horrible place to go for us. We've just got such an awful record there. Just a game that I just don't enjoy at all.
Yeah, it feels a bit like the perfect storm for Liverpool, getting beat by Fulham, and then Arsenal play on Saturday, so they might drop points against Brentford because of the Champions League distraction. Salah signed a new deal. You'd imagine that'll increase the atmosphere a little bit. So almost everything Liverpool want going into this one, I think they've got to take. Conor Bradley's should be fit enough to start for them as well, so they'll have a right back that isn't Curtis Jones. Is there anything you're hoping to see in terms of what Potter does? In terms of, do you have a preference over a back 3 or a back 4? Do you want to see Fulkrug start? Is there certain players you don't want to see start? In terms of the lineup, what are you thinking?
At the time where we did go to Liverpool and get a result, we were on the front foot and on the front foot from the beginning. We showed them no respect. We put it on them, and we had a very high line. We really went for them, and we got that fantastic result. It was the first time we'd won there in whatever it was, 40, 50 years, whatever it was. So, that shows you that if you're going to go and get anything from Anfield, you do have to try and win the game. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think we will see a 5. I think there's 0 chance of a 4. 0. And our total game plan will be to make it as difficult for them as possible. And hope, with Fulkrug now up top, I think he'll just be quite a lonely figure.
Do you think he'll start him?
I think he will. I think he'll start him, and I think we'll hope that from a set piece, he'll nick something. I think that'll be the entire game plan. I just don't see us doing anything more than that, which, isn't very inspiring.
So what's your score prediction? What's your
score prediction? I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
That's what I thought Gonzo would say, but he said 2-0 in the end, and I said 2-1. So we've all got 3 different scores, but we're all saying the same thing ultimately. Right, if you only want West Ham talk, this is the end of the podcast for you. But before you depart, please do drop a like on the video by clicking the thumbs up and subscribe to Damage Chat. Frankie, it's not the end of me and you, though, because I want to know how our team got on. The team that Hamish Chat sponsor last weekend, did they win?
They did win. Huge win. We was 4-0 up in the first half, and then ended up running out 5-1 winners. My boy got 2, which was amazing for him. But one of our young lads, Seb, scored a very Messi-esque goal for a 7-year-old to do what he did, run from his own box, beat 3 of their players, cut inside, and then hit it with his weak foot into the far corner. It was special. Really, really enjoyed it. Not only that, it was Seb's old team. So Seb used to play for this team, left them to come to us. They were I can't believe it, for 7-year-olds, they were booting him up in the air for the first sort of 5 minutes, to a point where I might have had to have a little word, Gio. I did have to say something because it was getting a bit ridiculous. And I sort of pulled him over, put my arm around him and said, look, Seb, go and drive at them and get your goal. And then the next thing I know, he turns into Messi and scores an absolute worldie. So, no, it was a very satisfying day, mate.
Yeah, he sent me the footage. Greedy bugger he is, isn't he?
That was the only time he did it, and it was because I'd taken the reins off him. But watching it from the outside, you might have thought, yeah, he's a bit greedy there.
There was at least 2 passes on that he could have done, but he decided to go himself. It was a really good goal. I liked the reactions of all the parents, and I can hear you shouting away, "Go on, Seb! Go on, Seb!" Then everybody cheering and clapping. It was nice, actually.
I've got an exclusive for you, Gio.
Go on then,
Ian.
Yes.
Liverpool fan, Gio. Score prediction for the weekend.
2-1.
2-1 Liverpool. There we go.
Anyway, everyone's fancying a Liverpool win, but hopefully, you never know. Surprises. I think surprise results are the best results. Like when we beat Arsenal, we went to Arsenal, rocked up, parked the bus, hit them on the brake, got the goal, and Arsenal just didn't know what to do. They had no answer. And Liverpool were a bit like that against Fulham. They didn't really know what to do. They were like it against Newcastle in the final at Wembley as well. In the end, Aaron Slot was just chucking on attackers, and I found it's almost like an interesting thing now. There's been more than one game now where it's got to the last 5-10 minutes, and I feel like Aaron Slot genuinely doesn't know what to do to beat the other manager, and he just throws on attackers. He just takes off his... Against Fulham, I think they finished the game with Bradley, Van Dijk and Gravenberch as like the 3 defenders, and the rest were all attacking players. It'd be interesting to see more teams can take the lead against Liverpool, because I'm not saying Aaron Slot loses the plot, but certainly with 10 to go, I'm still waiting on composure from him. Just Liverpool take the lead so often in games we don't really see it. So when they do go goal behind with not much time on the clock, I've not been too impressed by the Liverpool manager in the last month or so. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on Sunday. Anyway, Frankie, thank you very much. I shall catch up with you early next week, where we will be discussing all the action from Anfield and taking a look ahead to next weekend. And I'm sure there'll be another transfer rumour for us to get our teeth into.
Sounds good.